And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first ever Google Hangout for EduMatch. Woo woo! I wish there was like an
Oh,
app to
that's
make some
cool.
noise. But today we're going to be talking about what is the next step after you become a connected educator. So we have some wonderful EduMatch panelists right here. So if we could go ahead and introduce ourselves, I guess from my left to right. So Justin, you want to say a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're
Yes.
from?
Hello, my name is Justin Schleider. I am a phys ed and health teacher from central New Jersey. A couple of interests of mine are long walks on the beach, reading and writing poetry, remembering verses from John Lennon and quoting them all the time. But no, I love tech, I love education, so I enjoy learning anything I can. So hopefully this will enhance my learning a little bit more, and I'll learn something from you guys today.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We also have Melissa on the panel. Could you please introduce yourself as well?
All right. I am Melissa Eddington. I am an ELL teacher in Ohio, and I am currently riding back from my dad's house in West Virginia back to Ohio with my husband and two kids. Yeah,
Very
I'm
cool.
excited to be here.
Very cool, very cool. And we are excited to have you here. And
Thank you.
last and definitely not least, Tammy Hill.
Ah! Hi guys, I'm Tammy Hill. I teach tiny little Branford, Florida, and I teach computer ed chat and role ed chat, and am excited to be a part of EduMatch.
Nice. And we are so excited to have you. We might have a couple more people pop in that were having technical difficulties a while ago, but so stay on the lookout for those. So let's go ahead and jump off with question number one. How did you first get connected? How did you first become a connected educator? So I guess we'll go backwards this time. So Tammy, if we could start with you.
I got connected by starting to use, I got a tablet and started trying to use Evernote and searched for help for Evernote, and that led me to the Nerdy Tour, and then that led to chats, and that led me to our new cohort here, Justin Ion, and everybody else. So that's my connection route.
Nice, nice. And we just had Justin pop in, Justin A. So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
I am Justin Ian. I am a hero in my own mind, and I don't know. I teach 8th grade mathematics outside of Pittsburgh. I've been active on Twitter for about a year and a half. Year and a half. My connections through Twitter and through various other social networks have completely changed the way that I teach my classroom and the way that I view my students and the way that I view my job as an educator. So without all of this stuff, I would not in any way be the teacher that I am today.
Nice. Very true. And I'm sure that a lot of us can relate to that. So while we're on you, then would you mind just sharing a couple words about your journey to become to become a connected educator?
About 2 years ago, a friend of mine asked me if I was going to be attending Twitter Math Camp, and I said I had no idea what he was talking about at all. And so through him, we started doing Math Fun Fridays, where a bunch of us would hang out on Google doing mathematics together on Fridays, and met a whole bunch of people through there, expanded the kinds of things that I do with my class and with my educational philosophies, and sort of expanded outward from there. At Twitter Math Camp last year, somebody needed to pick up the reins for the middle school math chat. So I've been moderating that for about a year and a half now. Met a lot of really cool people through that, and it's just sort of exploded outward from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is fantastic. And Melissa, if you wouldn't mind saying a few words on how you became connected. She's driving right now, so. All right, we'll come back to you. How about Justin? Justin S.
Hello there. So my superintendent walks down the hallway and says, I saw this cool thing at another school they were doing, and she explained to me it would turn out to be a mystery Skype. I go, all right, I'm all about it. Let's do it. So I went online, found someone to do a mystery Skype with me last year, and he turned out to be a phys ed teacher. So we went to education Skype, and we're hooking up for a project, did a mystery Skype. And then from there, he said, dude, you got to get on Twitter. You're not on Twitter? I said, no, I really don't want to tell people I'm on the way to the grocery store, even though I just did that earlier about Walmart. And I said, why would I be on Twitter? And he said, no, you need to get on there. It's phenomenal. There's teachers all over. You learn ideas. You're connecting. So I go, all right. He goes, and for me, it's the best way to connect with him. So that's how we communicated a lot, was through Twitter, because the guy was in Wales, the country of Wales. So that's where Charles in the house. What's up? So anyway, so that was the road that took me, and then from there, I just started going and learning what are chats and just diving in. I was one of those people who had no clue, and I just dove in head first. So I would be in chats, and I thought COL chat was Colorado chat. I'm like, oh, every state has their own chat. I'm in a Colorado chat. Well, obviously that was culture and learning chat, but just all different stuff. I just dove in. So then from there, got on the Voxer, and then from Voxer went on to creation, and I'm sure we'll talk about all that later. But that's my road to connection.
Nice, nice. And we see that Charles is in the house. Woo, woo!
Hey, what's up?
So Charles, while you're here, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you, what was your journey to becoming a connected educator?
Yeah, I'm still trying to find a hat. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Charles Cooper. I still consider myself a government teacher, even though I'm not in the classroom. Haven't been for about a year, a little over a year. My son's kind of jumping in and taking a look at this. I'm an a technology educational consultant now in Fort Worth. And what brought me to being a connected educator was originally Alan November introduced me to Twitter. I jumped in, I didn't get it, walked away from Twitter for about a year, and then an administrator and I kind of jumped back into it together. And then all of a sudden, you know, I was in and I don't even know the guy's name anymore, but I was needing an idea for a lesson I was doing, so I just threw it out on Twitter, and this guy in outside of Miami, Florida, jumped in and said, oh, if you're using Moodle, I've got something for you, and let's go ahead and start trading lessons, since it'll be, you know, we can whatever, export it and import it easily and all that stuff. So he and I started trading lessons, and all of a sudden my kids were more engaged. They're excited about this different perspective on government and how to do things. And then really the big wow factor for me was Matt Easley from Missouri and I got together and put together this really nice lesson on gay marriage, where the kids were going to have a debate between Texas and Missouri. And it was just absolutely fabulous. Blew me away. I couldn't have done it without his help, his insight, even though I didn't agree with everything that he was throwing out there. And at that point, I was like, okay, so 50,000 brains are way better than one, and that's when I was hooked.
That is too cool, super cool. The power of social media is just awesomeness. I see that Melissa, your mic is unmuted, so could you tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming a connected educator?
All right, yeah, sorry about that. So I joined Twitter probably a couple years ago, but couldn't remember my password, so I could never log on. So I would kind of watch other people. Then it was probably February of this year, I decided I was going to try to figure out my password and change it. Long story short, I hopped onto the local school district's chat where my kids go, and didn't realize that it was only their second chat. I was like, this is kind of really cool, and I emailed our communications guy in my district that I teach in, saying, hey, what is, do we have a chat? And I just don't know. And I knew a lot of people were on Twitter. So long story short, the hashtag DubChat started April 17th of this year. And I moderated almost every week. And I think just through that, I've grown my PLN, and I've met so many interesting people and their perspectives. And what I like so much about it is I'm not getting the same answers from the same people I see every day. And there is so much more outside of the walls of my school district. So it's really cool to see other people's perspectives and to learn from everybody.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. It's all about sharing knowledge, sharing information. My story was a little different. I first signed up for Twitter probably in like 2006. I was like an early adopter or whatever, but I only signed up to follow Flavor Flav and, people on VH1, and it was so it was pretty ridiculous, and I didn't see much value in it. But one day I was at a conference and they were using a hashtag, and I wanted people to be able to see what I was putting on the hashtag, so I created a whole separate Twitter account just for professional use, and that's how I became connected and just started jumping into Twitter chats, things of that nature, and different opportunities like that. So speaking of Twitter chats, what are Twitter chats? Anybody in here want to go ahead and give your definition of what a Twitter chat is, as well as ones that you could recommend?
I will. It's Melissa. Twitter chats. I was asked that a lot because nobody knew what they were. I had to explain it to my superintendent as well, which was interesting. But most of them are about an hour long, and it's somebody is moderating, throwing questions out. I typically have 6 questions over the hour, and you answer the questions, and most of the time it leads to other conversations. But there's usually a topic, sometimes not. But of course I would recommend my own chat, which is hashtag DUBCHAT DubChat, and it is Monday evenings at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are off tomorrow, but we'll be back on the 5th. Another really great chat that I thoroughly love is hashtag NBT Chat, which is No Box Thinking Chat. That is led by at Jonathan Kegler from Lufton, Texas, and it is Sunday evenings. For me, it starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's an hour-long conversation, actually hour and a half. He has a pre-chat for half an hour about being risk takers in education, thinking outside the box, using your passion to drive change. And I love it being on Sunday nights because it gets me all riled up for the week.
Nice. Yeah, those Twitter chats definitely do have a positive effect on people. So very cool. And I'm just looking at the panel right now, and I just realized that most of us here, or almost everybody, I think, leads a Twitter chat of some sort. Correct? All right.
Yep.
So okay. All right. So let's let me see who else would like to jump in with theirs, as well as other chats that they know of.
I'll jump in.
All right.
So when I first got on Twitter, I hit up, I think it was SatChat, and it was so ridiculously fast that I couldn't keep track. So I said, I'm not a big fan of Twitter chats, too much. Then I stumbled upon something called Slow Ed Chat, and that is a question a day, and they talk about they write a blog, put out the blog, and then there's questions, and every day is a new question. And it's real slow-paced, which I love. And all day they just talk about the question back and forth. So now you can really get some back-and-forth dialogue and find out a little deeper rather than just one quick tweet and then it's done. But you can't even read them, let alone respond to people. So I loved the Slow Ed Chat. So then I decided, well, hey, there's not a lot of phys ed chats. Let me start a Slow Chat PE. And that's the same thing, a question a day. and I kind of cross it over all to education. Sometimes it's more phys ed based, and other times it's just broad based on education. So like I said, I really like those chats because it's one question a day. It's slow. You go on. If you have time, you do it that day. If not, you skip it. And there's no pressure about, oh, I have to be in front of my computer at this time on this day, and it just gets a little ridiculous. So if I want to recommend two chats, first one is Totally Rawsome. Love that chat. It is on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock. He always has a real good angle to his questions. It's not the straight up, what's the best app in your class, or what's the best management technique, or I don't know. It just doesn't seem that blah. It really comes from a different angle. And another chat is Weird Ed, and I believe he's Wednesday night at 10. I'm pretty sure that's his chat. And he's another one, wrote a book. Not that that means much, but his book actually is pretty good. And his chat has definitely some real good angles to it as well, where one time they had a rhyme, all their answers had a rhyme, and just different stuff to make you think. So I always enjoy that. So if you were there, I would definitely hit those two up. And I see Gorilla Ed is on Thursdays from 8:30 to 9 p.m. Gorilla Ed, instead of L's, there are ones, the number ones, and that is run by Charles. So why don't I let you slide over? That's definitely a good one, and I like especially that it's a half hour. So I'll let Charles explain a little more about that.
Yeah, so Gorilla Ed is meant for our smaller school districts in the North Texas area, so we keep it to 30 minutes so you don't get the burnout, and there are some of the area chats that are an hour long, and you start to see them fizzle out, I don't know, the last 15 or 20 minutes. And so just to keep people wanting more, we cut it down to 30 minutes. We've got 3, 4, maybe 5 questions at the most. We invite big wigs, like Miss Sarah Thomas jumped in a few weeks ago and was absolutely fabulous. And so what we're trying to do with Gorilla Ed is bring these creative, knowledgeable people to the smaller school districts so they see what's out there, and we're trying to be the middleman, I guess, in that equation. But as far as so that's Thursdays 8:30 to 9 p.m. for 30 minutes. We try to keep it exciting. I usually load up the first question to be something funny, like take a picture of your what's in your refrigerator, or how much candy do you have left from Halloween, like just goofy kind of stuff like that. There's a Text EduChat from 8 to 9 on Sunday nights. That's phenomenal, and a lot of times it outtrends the NFL. It's run by Tom Kilgore, really awesome, great guy, and really the first guest moderator of Gorilla Ed a couple months ago. Teach Like a Pirate Chat Monday nights from 8 to 9 Central. Now, one of my competitors on Thursday nights, who I absolutely love, is Social Studies Teach Like a Pirate, and that's from 8 to 9. And if you're just not feeling it on Gorilla Ed, I mean, I would highly suggest you jump over to that chat, because it's really phenomenal if you're into social studies. And they try to do cross-curricular stuff as well, so it's not simply social studies. And Justin mentioned SatChat, and then there's N2T Chat, new to Twitter chat, on Saturday mornings. Yeah, Saturday mornings.
That's a good one.
From 8 to 9. And if you've got any teachers that are new to Twitter, highly, highly, highly recommend that. And it's a lot of times, a lot of the same questions are popping back up. What's a hashtag? What's an @ symbol? I almost consider it like a community service to jump in and help the new the newbies.
They broke off to a Voxer one too last week. Like right after the Twitter one stopped, they went right into a N2 Voxer, whatever that was. So I thought that was pretty cool too.
And I want to say, I want to say too that they, I think when I was on one of their chats, they had a link out for a website where you could go and be a Twitter mentor to new teachers.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know what it is off the top of my head, though.
Yeah, I co-moderated that one a couple of weeks with Rick Rowe and we did how to use this and that, and how to use Evernote. And so, new teachers to Twitter, you know, if there's a need out there, they'll find somebody to fill it. And that just is a great Saturday morning. So on Wednesday night, for those of you that are rural, and yeah, we're not open to everybody, but rural ed is Tuesday nights from 8:30 to 9:30 Eastern. And I combined that with Ed Martin, and John Martin, EduMatchers, and Natalie Stotts. Wednesday night, I co-mod Florida Ed Chat, Fled Chat, with Dennis Dill and Celeste Clemens. Thursday night from 9 to 10 is Christian Educators Chat with Rick Rowe. He's pretty much the moderator for that. And Justin S. thinks I'm completely insane,
Yes,
but at
absolutely.
5:30 in the mornings, there is a 15-minute Spark Chat called BFC 5:30, the Breakfast Club Chat. We also have the Breakfast Club Lounge on Voxer, and that's the one that gets me going in the mornings. 15 minutes, 5:30 a.m. Eastern.
So 15 minutes. How does that work?
It's one question, and a pretty good question. There's lots of conversation, fast, quick conversation, just to get your educational juices flowing first thing in the morning. And I have changed my sleep patterns because of that chat.
Yeah,
I
you're
get up.
nutty. You're nutty.
Well, you know. But the chat me really started was Justin A's middle school math. So I'm going to slide over to Justin.
Go, Justin.
So the middle school math chat, I guess, is supposed to focus specifically on middle school math issues. We, however, have a tendency to focus more on general middle school issues. So even though it's MS Math Chat, we generally talk about things that anybody who teaches grades like 5 through 9 are really interested in. To give you a good example, one of the first chats that we had was about bathroom policies, which is a huge thing in the middle school level, when kids can and can't interrupt class to go to the bathroom and wait till you're done and know you should go at lunch. It was a big thing. And the Algebra 2 people made fun of us because we were talking about bathroom policy, but this is, the important stuff in middle school. Like Charles, I generally start mine out with sort of a goofy question. It's not an official question, it's just part of the introduction. Things like, introduce yourself with what you teach, where you are, and your favorite pizza topping. And that usually gets conversations going. Like the other moderators have said, I try to have 4 to 5 questions either ready to go or not. I prefer our conversation to move organically. So the best chats that we've had, we've only really had one question, and everything is sort of sprouted out from there. We usually don't get past question 1 or 2, and those subsequent questions are all based on things that the participants have said. I want it to be much more of a discussion. Like Justin had said about the SatChat, some of the really big chats are huge and fast-moving, and it's very hard to keep up with the discussion. And it's not even really a discussion at that point, it's just like a stock market floor, people shouting out their thoughts on educational theory. And there's nothing wrong with that inherently, it's just not what I wanted from my chat. So we are not too small, but not overly large, and the conversation happens organically. It usually breaks off into 3 or 4 side conversations, and then my co-moderator, Adrian Schlagbaum, has a tendency to help me come back on track because I go off on random tangents.
No.
I was going to say, that's really surprising.
I know. You know what? It's yes.
It's totally you, though, Justin. Totally you.
It is, and I really like that. I mean, there are definitely days where it's like, I want to go to bed, but the MS Math Chat and the people who are a part of that really help to start the worst day of the week off very, very well, and it's worth staying up. The MS Math Chat is at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also wanted to say that, as Justin mentioned, Weird Ed Chat. Charles moved away, and now there's a floating mustache. The Weird Ed Chat is at 10 p.m. because Doug lives on the West Coast, but there's also #WeirdEdE, which is the same questions at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for those who can't stay up that late. And again, I would completely agree. That is a chat that people should be participating in. That one, totally awesome. And of course, MS Math Chat. It's not just about math. It's about people.
Nice.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that you just answered the question that was in the Q&A. Judy, huge shout out to Judy. She's tuning in right now, and she asked, what is the chat Tuesday that Justin mentioned and who moderates it? So were you talking about the Weird Ed, or was that the Totally Rawsome? Like, which one was on Tuesday?
Tuesday's Totally Rawsome.
Totally Rawsome.
And that's a really cool chat run by Ross LeBrun. He is an ELA supervisor in Central North Jersey. And again, like I said, really good content there. His questions, I don't know, a lot of Twitter chats start to get redundant, and his are always fresh, so I like that.
His Twitter handle is at MRLEBRUN, at Mr. LeBrun. The guy who runs the Weird Ed Chat, moderates Weird Ed Chat, the Weird Teacher, is Doug Robertson at The Weird Teacher. So both of those are guys that you should be following, whether or not you join the chats. They always have really interesting and insightful things to say, or just fun things to say.
Yeah, they're a riot. Both of them are a riot, and you always see current events being thrown out there as well, which is pretty cool, because they'll bring it to my attention, because I try not to read the news too much because I get depressed. So when I see something from them, I'm like, all right, I got to go research this. It seems pretty important that I should know about this. So it's good stuff over there. I like both of those guys a lot.
Absolutely. They are great, great guys. So Judy just asked a question, if we're going to be discussing other ways to stay connected in addition to Twitter chat. So that is a beautiful segue. So that brings us to question 3. How do you use different types of social media? For example, Twitter, we already went through Twitter, Voxer, Google Hangouts, etc. So how do we use these different mediums to stay connected?
Charles, you want to start it up? You're back.
Yeah. Really, one of the main ways that I've been writing a blog for about 2.5 years. I kind of didn't get it at first, so I treated it almost like a diary. And then I started getting feedback from teachers on my campuses just randomly saying, hey, I really love what you said about this lesson, or about wait time in the classroom, or and especially and it's not my most popular post or anything, but the one I wrote on wait time, I think a lot of teachers don't understand that pausing in between questions allows the slower kids to catch up to, the not so slow kids, and that's something that brings a sense of equality into the classroom for everybody. And that's what I've gotten, I think, the most feedback from locally, at least, is that post. So with blogging, I've discovered that each one of us has a unique perspective on education and brings something to the table that's really important. And so my mindset was, nobody wants to hear what I have to say about anything. But when I start reading other people's blog posts, I start thinking, oh my God, I never thought of that. You know, I should have come up with that 5 years ago. So for me, the big one is really blogging.
I've kind of
Absolutely.
just jumped. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I've kind of just jumped into the blogging world. My friend at Jeffrey Bradbury, who does Teacher Cast and a whole bunch of casts things, introduced me to WordPress. I was using Weebly, but I ventured into WordPress and spent the extra bucks so I could be melissaeddington.com and extra cool. But I have used that kind of like what Charles was saying, kind of just getting my thoughts out, praising things and people that I saw going on in the school that I teach at. But it's been interesting. I think my biggest hang-up is that nobody is as excited about it as I am. And how do I get other people to be excited about what I'm doing and what I'm saying, and getting onto Twitter and Voxer, and but what I like about WordPress and my blog is that it pushes it out to my social media sites. This year I've tried to inform my parents about what's going on. I try to tweet out pictures of my students, and gotten some feedback from parents. But I think my favorite thing is that I started a Facebook page for my classroom, and I'm the only one that's liked it so far. So it seems to be working out really well. But I think just through those mediums, and I know Voxer has become, according to my daughter, a large part of my life. And why do you just keep talking to your phone, Mommy? You know, but the conversations continue, and you can hear people's voices, which I like. And I wanted to segue back to At the Weird Teacher, or Doug. There's going to be a Voxer / blogging / whatever group about his book. He's the Weird Teacher. So if you're interested in being in that, let me know at Melsa, MELSA 777. So just plug in that one.
Well, I guess I'll jump in here with the CEOCT thing that we did, Sarah. Back in October is Connected Educators Month, and it just so happened that Sarah, the teacher, and Ashley Hurley and I were in a Voxer group together, and we started talking about how to promote connected educators on our own campuses, in our own districts, and we said, you know what, wouldn't it be kind of cool to do a multi-platform walk across the country? And so we started at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on October the 1st, and continued a Google Hangout / Twitter chat, and we called it a Tweet and Talk, and we walked across the country with it. And we connected with educators in each of their own 8 o'clock in each time zone. So we utilized, and we used Voxer to organize. We used Google Hangout and Twitter to connect. We have a website that showed all the connections. From that sprung a Voxer Connected Educators Voxer group that's still going strong. And several other people. We actually had some people from Ireland. We had a gentleman from Ireland show up. We had the Twitter parent of all parents, Art LaFlame, came and hung out with us for a little while. And so it was really nice to see that connection walk all the way across the country. And Sarah's sharing doing a screen share with our event page right now. So that was really great connection for us, and allowed us to learn some things about the differences in different areas of the country. And from that stemmed a poster session at ISTE this next year in Philly. So we're trying to get the money to get to Philly and hang out with everybody. And so Yeah, that link for that is CEOC. Oh, help me out, Sarah.
Yes,
Strikingly.
CEOCT .strikingly.com. So I'm trying to put it in the showcase right now. So hopefully it'll load. It didn't load. Okay, there it is. Okay, so so now it's in our showcase. So our viewers can definitely click on that and check it out.
Yeah. So that was a really cool connection, and between that and the mystery Skypes and I'm actually connecting to teachers through Edmodo now in my room. So those connections are starting to happen there as well. So anybody else?
Yeah, I suppose I'll jump in. I love how we're talking about using different mediums for different purposes. With Voxer, Voxer has definitely been gaining steam a lot over the past few months in terms of with educators. And there's a Voxer group directory out there. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. This is located at bit.ly/eduvoxlist. And here there's a huge well, not huge yet, but hopefully one day it'll be huge. A directory of different Voxer groups that people can join. And on there, we have our EduMatch group somewhere. Where are you? There it is, EduMatch right here. So if anyone is interested in joining us, then they can definitely do that. So I'm going to drop that link, bit.ly /eduvox list. So that's definitely a good one to keep in your back pocket. So anybody else want to jump in with your reflections on how you use different media?
Yeah, can I jump in real quick?
Oh yeah,
First,
by all means.
Charles, your blog about wait time. Are you talking about between questions being asked to the kids or between questions and response?
The blog mainly was about having teachers wait between question and then accepting responses from the kids.
Okay. I like that because I read somewhere it was like at least 7 seconds you want to leave before. So I even tell my kids, put your hands down, I'm talking to the other person. Because we all know what it's like to be in class and everyone has their hand raised, and the kid
Yeah.
you're asking is still trying to process what's going on and all that pressure. So I do that. I like that a lot. That's the good blog. I like to read that.
Well, and another thing that I throw in there just to manipulate my students, I'll let them know, especially when you're playing poker, if I ask you a question or if I throw out a question to the group and I wait 7 seconds or 10 seconds and you look down or you look away from me, I know you don't know the answer, so I'm going to call on you. So in that way, I try to get those kids to keep their eyes on me. It's all about, like, if I see you twitching, then I'm coming right after you.
Nice.
Also, what's up?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Well, let's jump in.
I was just going to say, and what's key for the wait time is for your ELL students, if you have any, because most of the time they're hearing your question in English, translating it into whatever language in their head, and then trying to figure out the answer and then spit it back out in English. So it takes 10 times longer, and it's 10 times harder work to try to do that all in 7 seconds. So always allowing them extra time to think about what they want to say is key.
Well, yeah, and another thing that you can do is ask a question, let's say with a high-level vocabulary term, and while those ELL kids are digesting that, have one of your smart kids rephrase the question, and that way you're checking on their understanding, and they're also kind of watering down the question to the level of the other kids, and you're still incorporating that wait time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Also, love Jeff Bradbury. Teacher Curse is awesome. Sarah, you didn't talk about SatChat. About SatChat Voxer. So SatChat Voxer, Sarah, Ashley, Hurley, and I co-moderate. It's a question a day. It's very education-based. There's not a lot of squirrels or Justin. Well, now that Justin's in it, it might get a little loose now. But it's another one. It took SatChat's questions, which we talked about earlier, so crazy. I didn't want to go to Twubs and slow it down, and by the time you ask somebody a question, half the chat's over. So on Voxer, we take those those questions from Saturday's chat, and we do that one a day. So it's basically a slow chat on Voxer, and I love that. And one question does seem to keep everybody going all day. So I could see how, Justin, when you talked about, you have one question, and from there the conversation goes. Absolutely. So that happens to us all the time. I do blog. I like blogs. I think they're fun to read other people's blogs and see their mindset on things. I usually blog to set up my chat, but I take whatever is going on in my life and I blog about that Sunday. And I spend like 20 minutes. I write my blog. If it sounds horrible, I don't care because I know that I want it every week. So it just, whatever it is, I go back, check for spelling mistakes, and that's all. I don't want that pressure of a 3-hour blog or a 5-hour thing. A blog is just quick. So for me, if there's spelling mistakes or some of it doesn't make sense, that's because I just, boom, stream of consciousness, just did it. So I enjoy blogs. And Education Skype, I think, is one of the least used social media sites out there. A lot of really cool stuff going on there. So if anyone gets a chance, definitely go to Education Skype. And then I'll take care of my other stuff in the next question.
All right, cool beans. Actually, go ahead and lay it out there because we might have to skip question 4 just for the sake of time. So go ahead and say what you were going to say.
Real quick, when you talk about being connected, the first level is just getting connected and meeting people and seeing what's going on. Then I think the next level is interacting with the chats, giving your ideas, whatever. Third level, then you go to moderating. You start pushing other people's ideas. From there, I want what's the next step. And for me, that's creation. So I've got together with some people I met through Voxer and through Twitter, and then we started creating things. So we came up with a hashtag so you can think you can balance. We had our kids. We took pictures, different schools took the pictures of the kids balancing, made a whole Google thing out of it. So we did responses. We did a Google form for it. Really, really cool. And it really took my teaching to the next level. It was a lot of student participation, not a lot of me presenting the information. I just went over safety. And then they saw the pictures in the Google form and went with it. So we used Twitter, we used Voxer for that, we did Google Hangouts for that, all creation, like Tammy talked about with her project, creating something new. That's what I really want to do myself. More than just talk about Ed, I want to use it. What can I do to further my teaching? And that's why I like Voxer. The other day I was in a phys ed chat. During the day, somebody wrote out, oh, I'm doing a rock, paper, scissors game. 7 different teachers. Vox, this is what I do with it. This is what I do with it. This is what I do with it. Then that teacher who talked about the original question took a picture 20 minutes later of his kids playing one of the games that the other teachers had taught them. So what is that? That's immediate. That's not, oh, we're going to wait. I'm going to go to a conference. I'm going to use it next year. No, it's I learned it. I put it into action 15 minutes later. I mean, it's phenomenal. So that's why I love social media. It's bettering my teaching. It's not just talking all the time. It's creating. It's doing things with it. All right, I'll let somebody else go. I'll get my rant done for that time.
Absolutely, absolutely. That hit the nail on the head. Did anybody else have anything that they wanted to say about creation? I see that Tammy chimed in on the chat with it.
Mhm. Yeah, it's that when you realize you can create with someone you've never met. That creation makes you want to be a better teacher. Makes you want to bring that connection and show your kids that there's more than what you've been doing. And I can honestly say that since I've become a connected educator, my opinion of education has changed. The teacher that I was even 5 years ago is not the teacher that I am now, and I am so grateful for that. It's not funny. And yeah, my outlook, my want to get up and go to the classroom every day, there was a student earlier this year that Justin helped me in a conversation on Voxer, helped me create a breakthrough with, and he's never met me, and I've never met none of us that were talking kid will ever meet that kid. But the change in that child, because I had people to connect with and ask those questions that needed to be asked, and they held me to a fire, held my feet to the fire on making sure I followed through with that kid. Made a huge, huge difference, not just in my classroom, but in his reactions to teachers across our campus. That's what makes that connection so valuable.
Absolutely.
So valuable.
Yeah, and I think what is nice, Tammy, that you were touching upon was that none of us have met each other, yet there is that sense of security in asking questions. It might be a question we've asked our coworkers a million times, or you know, had the same problem over and over again. But by the fact of you all not knowing me, you know, it's a safer place to ask a question and to get answers. And I think what I have found to be so cool is the willingness that the people I have met in sharing. You know, you talk about a tough kid that you have, and then you're having, you know, 12 side conversations with another teacher who has the same tough kid in her state, and you know, you're brainstorming ideas, and you're helping each other, and I'll probably never meet her. You know, it'd be cool if I did, but you know, I mean, there's just something cool about the willingness that all of us have to help each other, and not know each other.
Yeah, I would piggyback on that to say that one of the major advantages that I've found is by connecting with teachers all around the country and all around the world, I'm able to see that I'm not the only one having these kinds of difficulties with my classroom. Other teachers are as well, and they may have ideas for solutions that are student-oriented instead of specific student-oriented. Like Melissa was saying about having these discussions with individual teachers or in your class or in your buildings or in your district is, in a lot of cases, those conversations end up about that specific student saying usually negative things like, you know, I tried all these things and nothing works. We just need to find a way to get that kid out of here, or whatever it is. But by having that same conversation with a teacher who is on the other side of the country, has never met my students, has never experienced the benefits and difficulties of being in my specific district, they're able to offer much more objective advice that may or may not work, but is sort of a fresh point of view on the kinds of things that may be able to help. And not only that, but also sort of help me take myself out of the equation so that I'm able to look at the situation objectively rather than the specific interactions between me and this student or me and this class.
Yeah, and we have to face facts. I mean, even the best of us get into ruts, and that's what's glorious about this connected educator thing, is that you'll get into a rut. You'll have that one-trick pony that works all the time. It gets old after a couple years, and you need these other perspectives, even if they don't directly help that particular idea or lesson. What they do is they start making you think from different perspectives, and so even if the suggestions fail, I think they succeed in getting us to see ourselves from a new point of view.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. These connections are invaluable. So we are starting to run out of time, so I just want to kind of go down the line and just get a closing statement from each person. So lightning round time. All right, so let's start going my right to left. So Tammy, what would you like to leave our audience with? Okay, we'll come back to Tammy. You might be frozen. Melissa, what would you like to leave our audience with? Okay, Melissa might be frozen. Justin, what would you?
I'm sorry. You know what?
Go ahead.
Frozen.
Oh,
I
okay.
was checking to make sure my microphone was on.
Oh, okay, okay. Sure, go ahead. But what would you like to leave our audience with?
I think just, you know, take the risk, step out of the box, be uncomfortable, and I think by being uncomfortable, you're going to open your eyes to so many things that you've never seen before. And ask those what you think are stupid questions, because they're not. And ask what COL chat means, because I thought the same thing. And, you know, ask questions and just jump in. I think your confusion at first will lead to a better understanding of so many things.
That is so clutch. That is so clutch. Tammy is back. So, Tammy, what would you like to leave our audience with?
I think along Melissa's lines of don't be afraid to ask that question. You know, it's really awesome when we model for our students that we are always learning, and that you know, not being afraid to ask that question because it's time for you to learn something. I think that's the value of the connectedness, is that gets to be shown all the time.
Absolutely. It's so key to model this for students so they can continue to grow themselves. So, excellent. Justin S., what would you like to leave our audience with?
Just get involved in some chats. Get involved in stuff. Once you get hooked, it's over. So if you're out there trying to figure out what's going on, listen to some of the links, hook up with any of us, and we will show you the way. So that's about it for me.
Okay, nice, nice. Yes, we are all willing to lend a helping hand. So, Justin A., what would you like to leave our audience with?
Well, Melissa and Tammy already sort of stole my ideas, but Tammy knows that I refer to that as involuntary collaboration.
Icing.
I completely agree. We need to be modeling for our students. Think about when you interact with the world, when you interact with the educator community, think about how you would like your students to do the same. If you want them to sit idly by, then you should also sit idly by. There is value in that. There's value in observation, but we want our students to be jumping in to explore, to expand everything that is beyond their horizons. And the best way that we can do that is by doing it ourselves. Somebody out there is struggling with the same issue that you are struggling with, and they can help you, and you can help them. And together we are much stronger than being isolated in our classrooms together.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And Charles, what about you? What would you like to leave our audience with?
Yeah, well said, Justin. I would just say that none of us are experts. Get rid of that conceit that because you've been teaching something for 15 years that somehow you're at the top of your game. The opposite may be the reality. You're in such a deep rut that you're at the top of your game because you haven't changed anything in 10 to 15 years. Pretend like those students that you're teaching, pretend like their 35-year-old versions are in the classroom with you. What would the adult versions say to you as you're teaching those kids? But mainly just get rid of this idea that we're experts, because none of us are, and we definitely need each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely do. Yep, I agree 100%. And just wanted to put a quick plug in there for ways to build up your PLN and to get different voices in your ear, different people to collaborate. Then you could definitely join us at EduMatch. We have a Voxer group, and we also do featured EdTech People of the Day. EdTech is a misnomer, so featured educators of the day. We're just totally copying that hashtag and just stealing it. But I'm going to show you guys a screen. This is how you get started to become our featured person of the day. We're starting back with this in 2014, so the site, or 2015. Woo! The site is. I know, right? So the site is edumatch.education, and if you just go down here to our sign-up form, you just put in a little bit of information about yourself, and this will help us tweet it out about you, and you will hopefully make some fantastic global connections with other educators. Also, drop your Voxer handle in there if you're on Voxer, and we have all kinds of great discussions all the time, so we would love to have you, and we would love to grow with you. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much, panel. You guys rock. You rock. Woo! Oh, wait. What's the rock sign? Yeah, you rock. So, and thank you to our viewers for tuning in as well. It was definitely a joy to moderate this. So, thank you all, and have a fantastic rest of your 2014.
Peace, love, and happiness.
That's right. Bye.